Hello and welcome to the Collective Conspiracy Show. Another edition, late April. The year's absolutely flying by. Thank you all for tuning in, whether you're going to start watching live or whether you're going to tune in at a later date. I know a lot of you guys do. Today's guest, I've got a good friend of mine, Bernie, coming on, who's going to come on and talk about the nature of reality and his perception of reality. And one thing we'll find out is that everybody's perception is slightly different, and that's really what matters. But before we just get into that, I just want to have a shout out to everyone that went to London on Saturday and participated in that. Fantastic and well done to you all. Proud of all of you. And you did yourselves proud, and the numbers are growing. You know, nearly people. I've heard different numbers, but 750,000 at least, it seems. And when you see the drone footage, it really sets that off, and you can see that those numbers are probably realistic, to be honest. So, fair play to everybody there. So yeah, without further ado, we shall bring in Bernardo. Bernie, how are you?
I'm very good, thanks, bro.
Very good. I'm doing okay. What was that?
Looks like you've lost a bit of weight.
You're having a laugh? It's just the light, mate. I've trimmed my sideburns. That's what it is. So we've had conversations ever since we met a few years ago. We very quickly found out that we were on the same wavelength. That, if you excuse the pun, that we kind of see the world very similarly, to be honest. And there's a lot of people that see it the same way as well. And I think what drew me to your opinions was not only how I agree with them, of course, but it's also how easily you explain them to people that might not really understand what we're discussing. You have a nature of explaining it, even in an accent that's quite difficult to understand at times. You get it across quite well. So for the people that are tuning in, you know, I am aware that this is a paranormal network and stuff, but what we're going to discuss tonight massively, in my opinion, plays into the paranormal world. So just listen to this and with an open mind and start to associate it with the paranormal and how it could affect the spirit world that you guys are so keen on investigating and researching. So, Bernie, we don't really want a kind of a biographical story, but at what point in your life did you begin to realise that the world that we live in and the world that we and you perceive is not what it seems?
Okay, I'd say probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I had what we quote as a spiritual awakening. But I also understand now that everything is always leading up to that point, right? Your whole life has been set up specifically for whatever you are here for, right? People go, I've got a meaning, I've got a mission, I've got this, I've got that. I didn't even understand it. I was just playing the game. Basically, the Matrix was running me, right? Because I was so out of control. If you're out of control, Agent Smith jumps in and runs you. Okay. The idea is, so I have that awareness now. So basically, for most of my life, I've just been that guy who got drunk, did all the stuff he wasn't supposed to do, hit people, just antisocial. I was that guy. I was a wet dream for the Matrix. Right? I was just creating havoc, fear, emotion, all the stuff that drives it. This is an energetic field that is driven by, and that's why it's set up for fear. So what happened was, like I say, I won't go into the lot, but I was a bad gambler. And I was driving up to Leeds one day, and I heard this. It was Mother's Day. My mum had been dead for over 20 years. And I heard this little request on the radio, and I thought, oh, that's really nice. And so I just looked up and I went, I love you, Mum. And in an instant, I heard the song, I Want to Send a Message to Michael. That's my name, my real name, Michael. My straw man name. And I want to send a message to Michael, like that, instantly, not like 5 minutes later. The moment I said, I love you, Mum. And I was like, wow. It was like billions to one of that lyric to me. I've never heard Gladys Knight, never heard it before. And I thought, how is that possible? And it really struck me in my core. And I Googled it and I'm thinking, it's impossible. As a betting man, you couldn't write this. So that was the start of my awakening, right? Literally that moment. A couple of weeks later, I used to have on Facebook, I was known as Michael, because I didn't want to give me put the second name up there. I come down one day and I said to the missus, I've changed my name to Bernardo Franklin Fortuna. And she's like, well, where does that come from? And when I had a dream, and it's a name that's in my head, I'm going to change it. So a week or two later, I'm going to the van. I parked at Aldi. I'm walking up, and there's a credit card on the floor right by my door. And on it says Fortuna. Fortuna, it could have said any name right by my van, and it was Fortuna. And I did a little video and I went, if you miss the signs, you miss the message. And I realized there's a synchronicity, the messages are everywhere for you. Okay, when you start to live through your intuition and your heart, it's everything is set up. You're already in a 5D world. Okay, we just have no perception of it because we're all looking down at the ground, thinking or watching the telly to tell you how to think. So then I started to be guided by my intuition. So I joined Unite Planet. Three beautiful people in there, and we went and we started interviewing people like Tony Peake about the true nature of reality, the simulated simulation theory, and it really started to make sense. And during this time, I started on the DMT, dimethyltryptamine, through Changa, smoking that. It's called the God molecule or the spirit molecule. Everybody's probably seen it, heard it. Joe Rogan promoted it a lot. And I did that, and I went into the higher dimensions where there was intelligent other beings that weren't me. People say, that's a hallucination. I'm like, this ain't a hallucination. These are intelligent beings that know me. It's familiar. Where am I going? What is this? And then I started to have all these experiences, seeing UFOs in the sky. Not just a dot, like I saw this ball of red. It looked like red paint, like waxy paint that you squeeze out the tube. And it was like that in the sky, and I'm looking, it's daytime, and I'm thinking, how is that possible? What is that? Right? So I started with all these experiences, and I saw the moon that wasn't even there one night. I'm driving end up on the wrong road, going towards Edgbaston Cricket Ground. Should have took me 10 minutes to get from town. It took me 45 minutes to get home. I'm looking, I see the moon, and it's like 1.5 times the size it should be. It's on the left-hand side of my windscreen as I'm driving. I'm looking at it, and it's spectacular. It's huge. It's like the biggest moon I've ever seen. I'm thinking, wow, when I get home, I'm going to get the telescope out. But I had a whole night of synchronicity at a place called the Multidimensional Show. You know Rachel and Dave?
Yep, yeah.
Well, Rachel used to do this group at this place called Cherry Reds in town. So I started to go to a few of these, and I met so many of my tribe, people that are influential in my life. Luigi, Lee Thatcher, Caroline Waterson, June Greatrix. Few of your people will know them. That I was drawn to. Nothing's by chance. The fact that this girl, Rachel, runs this thing called the Multidimensional Show. It tells you that everything is there for you if you've got the eyes to see it or the ears to actually listen. This thing is a multi-dimensional show that we're living in. So I started to realize this ain't what they're telling you it is, right? I've always been up against the government and didn't believe. That was my training. I think that's what we are with the black sheep. We're the one that questions why do I have to do that? That's just the way we are. We're set up that way so that now in this time we're the people that are going, that we're waking people up. We're the people that don't mind putting on our Facebook corona balls, coronabolics, whatever this thing is. It's nonsense. You don't shut the world economy. That's us. We see it for what it is. We see it so plain as day. So I then start to think, okay, so is it about the destruction of humanity? For me, it's not. Right? It's just another fear tactic. So then I started to look, and I realized that I'm energy. Okay, I didn't know anything really about quantum physics. When you do the simulation thing, about the observable, and you as the observer, and the thing that you're observing, you're interacting with. So if we can agree that we're energy and we're vibrating on a certain frequency, then that means that we're not real. Because energy never dies. It just changes form. It transmutes into another form. Okay? So we don't die. So we're not even here. This isn't even a thing. It's the biggest for me, and this is the kicker that lots of people can't get. There's no death. There is no life. This is just what I found and what I've understood, like say, from doing interdimensional travel. When people say, "Oh, what do you do?" I'm an interdimensional traveler. What do you mean? We all are. We're multidimensional beings, and we're traveling through interdimensional reality. That is it. Get used to it. It makes your life so simple, man. Seriously. If I knew that I'm in the game of life, okay? So in the game of life, it's a one-player game. It's not me walking around. It's me walking around as a character. But what happens is, this is a projected holographic reality. Okay, but I am the projector. Right? There's lots of people, whether they do DMT or they do hallucinogenics or they do mushrooms or they'll be psychic or they'll be mediums or a way that they can heighten their frequency. Okay, a lot of people talk about the net, to see a grid. Michael Feely's talked about we saw the grid. It's a grid that this reality is projected onto. Okay, the platform. So all the dimensions are just here, all the layered on top. This is my understanding. Okay, it's a flat. It doesn't matter what shape it is, but it's a reality that is constantly being generated by you. You create your own reality. The powers that be that know this, as we're born, that's why they've got structured school systems. That's why they've got structured societies. That's why your parents are indoctrinating you constantly. That's why your government are constantly keeping you. You don't want free people. That's why they give you a straw man. They give you a name. They give you a number. Okay? Everything is designed to take you away from this which you are, which is infinite being. Nobody tells you that when you're born. You're an infinite being. Have the life, whatever life you dream. Right? No, you're going to go to school. You're number 2 kid in a family of 6. Or you're this kid. You're naughty. They put labels on you. They divide you. And to break you down. And the whole idea is, but you're also privy to this when you come into this game. You have set the parameters of how hard your life is going to be. The secret for me is you're this infinite being. You then cover it in shitloads of mud, right? Pack it tight, and then you spend the rest of your life trying to unpeel it, all the truth, all the lies away, till you find yourself again, which is the infinite shining light. That is the game of life. Right? We're just here having an experience. Nothing truly matters. There is no good, there is no bad. Okay? So the Illuminati, the COVID, the government, our perspective, they're the bad guys. But in another reality, they're doing, how many people are they waking up? Millions and millions of people. So in human consciousness way, they're doing a great job. They're doing more than we're doing right now. We might wake up 20 people in this conversation. They are waking up thousands every single day by their tyranny. Okay? So when you look at a higher perspective, which is like I said, because I'm in every dimension. So we don't have the big picture. We only have your picture. So this is your life. This is your movie. I've got a YouTube channel. I haven't done any footage yet, but it's called The True Man Show. Just telling you everything about this reality is telling you. It's a screen exercise, man. We're on a screen. And you are the projector. And you're projecting this whole reality. Okay? So when you understand that, so this morning I went, I'm ready for another test. You know, I've got my own issues that I'm dealing with. And next thing, this guy, some gangster in a BM, cuts me up, slams the brakes on. So I'm clapping him, going, yeah, well done. So he jumps out and punches my wing mirror up, right? And then starts punching the window. The old me would have served him up big time, right? And I'm sitting there waiting to get triggered. I'm thinking, when am I going to kick in here? But because I've learned that when your problems come in, we had this conversation the other day when you said about the loud neighbour thing.
Yeah.
You choose when you react. Now, if I jump out and do what I normally do, which is shake him and hit him a few times and then get in the car and feel justified. I will keep doing this or a variation on this exercise till I get it. Stop reacting. So I watched him hit it a few times, then I jumped out and I went, what are you doing, man? I put the mirror, luckily it fits back on. And when I jumped out, I think he was a bit scary because I'm driving a little van, he probably thought it was a little fella. I jumped out and I towered over him. What are you doing? And he jumped in and he zipped off. And I went, I'm proud of you, man, you know. I could have been triggered, you know, you're damaging my property, you're trying to punch my window in. All the stuff I used to do.
Yeah.
But now, I look and I go, I couldn't throw a punch at somebody in anger. If I could do it if I had to protect somebody. But I wouldn't do it because I'm losing my shit. Because that's what happens. I observe it so many times. So if you watch the car, there's somebody on a road rage thing and you're sat behind them. It's the same script that happens, the same script that you do when you freak out. When you're in control of yourself and you're finding your sweet spot and nothing's bothering you, you're having the greatest day, but it's a good day. It's an awesome day and you're living it. But when you're having a bad day, it's not the worst day in the world. It's just another day. And how am I going to deal with these issues so that I'm not going to get triggered? I'm not going to let it ruin me. I'm not going to have to post a load of rants about stuff that's bothering, because nothing has to bother you. You've set this day up for yourself, for your optimum soul growth, whatever. And if you're out of control, then the matrix jumps in, right? And that's how it works. So, like I say, I'm watching these two guys playing this dance out, doing the road rage thing. And I'm just keeping the horn behind until the guy looks at me and I just go, relax, brother, relax. And it pulls him out. And he just slows down a bit and he lets the other guy drive off because he's there revving up behind him about 6 inches off his bumper. Like we do. Pull over, you know. I'm like, I've seen it. I know, and that's me. And then you do whatever you have to do, and then 5 minutes later you're driving down the road and you're back in your head again. And you're like, oh God, I've let myself down again, or whatever. Or that'll teach him. Whatever you say. And it's a script. You've seen the movie, The Matrix, where the agent jumps in and just takes over. That's it. So everybody is giving their control away, their power. Like when we say about standing in your true power. Standing and realizing that none of them have no power over you. Nothing has any power apart from the power you give away. But the reality is designed to manipulate you and wind you up. So you're losing your temper when you're watching the news, right? How many times we shout at the telly? It's a telly. It's an animal. It's just a box. Yeah, it can trigger such a response from you, and then you feed the matrix. So because you're creating your own reality, you will then start to see that stuff. So if you think it's COVID or things, whatever your thing is, you will start to see it everywhere. Because it's all you're thinking about. You're putting so much energy into it. Now it's great if it's a positive thing, but most people are focused on negativity. So this whole thing is a shared human consciousness that's been hijacked, like I said, by the powers that be, through magic. They know how this works. From early doors, we're told to spell, spelling, everything tells you, right? They know how to manipulate this. And we do it through prayer when we're little kids singing. We don't really want to get into religious stuff, but it's been hijacked, right? The whole religion thing.
I guess that's where I'm going to jump in now. So I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Okay.
Because I'm only playing, but I know people are watching. They've probably got questions. If anyone has any,
I want you to test my theory.
Yeah, of course, yeah. If anyone's got any questions and you're watching, just throw them in the comments, and I'll throw them in as well. Because as Bernie says, this is a theory, and it's there to be tested. Yeah. So this is going to be two prongs, so you can kind of get back into it again. So if we choose this reality and we set these parameters ourselves, why would somebody choose to be a starving child in Africa when they might have a choice to be a multi-billionaire living on a yacht, living the life of Riley? That's one question. And then the next question is, if we are this collective consciousness that kind of comes down and plays the game through various focal points, then the people that are presumably running the world, so we know different, but let's say Boris Johnson or Joe Biden and these people, aren't they the same collective consciousness that is inhabiting what we would call the light workers and the people that are out protesting? So they're almost setting off against each other if it's one and the same. So they're my questions.
Right. Okay. For me, like this is a platform game. Okay. So I haven't met these starving kids in Africa. I've seen them on a screen, and I've seen charities raising money for them. Okay. It's a program that's running in the background. Okay, that supports this whole idea that we can't solve starvation. Okay, it's a program that's being run. Right. There's also characters within this reality called NPCs, non-playing characters. Okay, the majority of the people wearing a mask right now are switched off. Okay, they're being run by the Matrix. The likes of me and you, and other people that are questioning this. Lots of people are seeing this now. To talk about the veil being pulled back, or just having a sneak behind, like the Wizard of Oz.
Yep.
Seeing that there's just an old fella just running this, and it's all smoke and mirrors. That's exactly what this thing is. You can choose to keep denying it and stay ground within your little box, or you can go, you know what, everything I ever thought I knew is wrong, and I'm going to unpick it all, and I'm going to find out for myself. Like I say, I did the interdimensional. I went, what is it then? If it's not this, what is it they're talking about? Can it be a simulation? Am I being run by AI? I know that I am being run by a collective behind me. There's a lot of people, a lot of entities invested in my life, right? I'm not a one thing. I'm a multi-dimensional being. So it's not just me hooked up to a machine somewhere. There is other entities that I have experienced, that I have met within my interdimensional travels, that show me that they have a vested interest in whatever I am here doing. Okay, so for the second part, so whether you choose to be a starving kid or you choose to be the richest fella in the world, if you're the richest fella in the world, right, as beautiful as it sounds, for a week or a month, imagine being that for your whole life, right? Never being actually able to want to be able to do anything, or capable of doing stuff because you need guards around you. You're creating your own prison. It's no more freeing than if you. For me, the most freeing thing would be to live in a forest or to live by the beach in a cabin with all your fishing gear or whatever, and your lovely family and with some beautiful friends. Right? This whole thing is constructed, like I say, with the money system. We know it's a debt system. We know it's a fiction. We've created a straw man for us. Everything to distract you from who you are. They've even told you there's a God and he's outside of you. You're creating this. I've created this. I'm the God of my own universe, right? So when people pray to God here, in the universe, they pray to Bernie, right? When I'm having a beautiful life here, every reality that I'm in, every dimension is enjoying what I'm putting out. Because there's nothing negative. I'm only putting goodness into the system. Now, people go, he's crazy. He's okay. I don't mind, because anybody who meets me will go, he's funny, he's happy, he's never pissed off, he's never aggressive. Okay, I'm not aggressive. I don't see any negativity to any aspect of what I'm not trying to make money off anybody. I'm just trying to say there's another way to view this. And what we've told you is to totally take you away from yourself, right? Because this is a false matrix we live in. The Earth isn't supposed to be like this. We know that we occupy probably 1% of this planet, right? But there's an abundance of land for everybody. There's an abundance of everything, right? But to manipulate the figures and the screen to tell everybody that we're destroying the planet and we're doing this, right? Sorry, what was the second question?
The second part was basically if we're all from the collective consciousness, therefore I am you and you are me and so on. Why is there bad people, such the people that are instigating this lockdown at the minute, the people that go out and rape and murder. Why are there bad people if they are essentially the same consciousness as us?
Right. So at the start, when I said about there is no good, there is no bad. Okay. In an energy field, can you work out whether the energy is a rapist or a nun from the Catholic Church? It's energy, right? I'm not even certain if I chose this life, right? Because I don't even believe this life is the original life, right, of me. Other things I've seen has showed me that this is a recording, okay? I know this is a fluid reality, okay? So the character that I am living in, the Michael Emerson character that I was born into, right, could have lived a million years ago, or it could be an AI script, right? And I've met 10,000 people in my life. I haven't met 6 billion, however many's on the planet. I am projecting this reality, and all the people within it, I am projecting. There has to be the bad guys in this, otherwise, but only they can be freed. You know, they're running. Maybe they're not spiritual at all. I think the closer you get to your spirituality, to your true self, where you start to drop the ego, when you start to drop the nonsense that you think defines you, and you start living, just being kind, man, just being caring to people.
Is it possible that these bad, I'd say these bad people, because everyone in their own eyes isn't necessarily bad, but when they do these bad things, is it possible that where you've taken one path as this consciousness kind of within this vessel, you've taken this one path and you found enlightenment and you found goodness and the spirituality and you feel like you're on the right path? As you say, the world is set up to screw us over, basically, and to divide us and to make us not find that, to pull us away from that. Is it possible that these people have been influenced by that then, and been influenced by it so much that they follow that path, and it's working essentially? They, the way the world has been set up to make us think like that, it's worked on them. And so when they're committing crime and horrible things and all that stuff, they're essentially, they are the same consciousness, but they've just been manipulated, and they're
like I said, when I was younger, and I hurt a lot of people, right? Physically, not sexually. I mean physically fighting. Every time I lost my cool with it, mainly when I was at a drink, I was out from the geezers, the matrix took over. So when I'm sober, I'm going, oh God, what have I done? Right? Because I was out of control. So I think it's no different. A lot of these people, I'm not just trying to justify anything, all that rapist stuff and child killers. But if we're a multidimensional being, right, there is an aspect somewhere of me that is the lowest of the low. Okay, in some dimension, because in this world, in this reality, there's a duality to duality. There has to be the good and the dark. So we have all these people that talk about just love and light. Okay, but that's not solving. That wouldn't get me anywhere close to me finding who my authentic self is until I went into the shitty end of the stick, man, the bad trip. Right. So when I've had my acid and I'm sitting on the back end for an hour and a half and I'm seeing some horrible stuff, right? That's where you do your groundwork. Because if you don't clear all that, you don't sit down and being a little 5-year-old kid getting belted by your dad time and time and thinking you're the reason. You have to go back. You have to do all that work. Well, a lot of people don't want to do this. They don't want to do the hard yards. They don't want, but I'll tell you what, if you can do it, because it's only holding you back. It's holding you back from having the most beautiful life. Like I said, my life is perfect. It's not that I don't fear death, because there is no death. I'm certain, right? So I'm the most authentic guy I know, because I can say it so freely. One, I don't want to die. I am having a beautiful life, right? I've got my shit together. My issues that I had, I've resolved them all. I used to be a real bad gambler. And I've started to realise it was just a trap, a self-sabotaging trap that I've been living with to distract me. It's just another distraction that you've set yourself up for. Same with drink, same with being overweight, same with being just grumpy, or whatever your thing is. Instead of just being a nice guy, instead of, if you've got nothing nice to say, don't bother saying it. It's that simple. It's just be kind if you see. And now, because in the one-player game, I know that there's only me. I am expressing myself. I am everybody, right? Or a version of them. So when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself on the screen, right? But there is other people. So in the one-player game, there's only me. But there are other people also on this platform that are souls, like me, that are coming here. So we've chosen whatever this mission. I hate to say mission because it sounds like we're the Galactic Starfleet, right? And as much as I love how cool that sounds, you're then going into these other things get hijacked in, and I like working on my own. Right? I've never had to be in a gang to justify it. So I'm cool, I'm happy to have a little gang to steer my friends. I've got my little tribe that we go camping. And we're all the same. We all think pretty much the same sort of thing. But that's cool. But whether we're bringing up the human collective consciousness, I don't really know if that's a thing. Only because the consciousness of the universe is already there, right? This is just it's just the planet Earth game, right? Where you're going to come in and be the superhero, you're going to save the day for them, right? You're the savior. It's the God complex thing, right?
Yep.
I'm the savior. If everybody just listens to me, then the whole world would be right. Yeah. I think it's just a script that they're running. You just have to sort yourself out. You don't have to save the world. You just change yourself. Lead by example. People can take it or leave it. It doesn't matter because each person is having an individual journey.
I think I just want to come back to what you mentioned earlier, and I smiled because I'm a massive fan of David Lynch. I don't know if you've ever heard of David Lynch, but he's a film guy, and he made Twin Peaks. Yeah, he made loads of different films, but he's into like transcendental meditation and stuff like that. And that comes across in a lot of his artwork and a lot of his shows. And one thing he actually said in an interview was that you can have this love and light and this happy kind of, these kind of soap operas where everyone's happy and smiley, but you need the shit. You need the dirt, and the way he shows it is in a film called Blue Velvet, and it starts off with a white picket fence, and you think, oh, beautiful, it's a beautiful white picket fence, but at the base of the fence is all the grubs and the shit and the dirt and the dog shit and all that stuff, and then without that, the contrast of the beautiful white fence would mean nothing, and without the beautiful white fence, the shit would mean nothing. So you need this balance in order to illuminate each other, because without each other, there can't be the other.
That's a duality, isn't it?
And that's why when you mentioned, that there has to be like a bad version of you out there, it really made me think about that, because that really struck a chord with me, and I have to 100% agree with that. And if anyone hasn't watched any David Lynch programs, they're a bit of a mind messer, but do go and look into some David Lynch. Now, with this theory, there's various thoughts on this. There are other researchers who we all kind of have the same opinion, but it does differ ever so slightly. So some people believe that actually we are all one consciousness, but what's happening is we're being controlled by external forces, and they're the ones that have put this prison around us. So they've imprisoned our consciousness in this biological vessel, which then prohibits us from experiencing everything that we can. And then there's your theory that where you're saying ultimately you've done it to yourself. You've put yourself there as this consciousness.
Yeah.
So that's although it's a similar theory, there's a huge contrast there, because you're saying, you're taking responsibility and it's my fault and I've put myself here. But some other people are saying, well, no, it's not our fault. We've been trapped. And that's quite a human thing to do, isn't it? To blame someone else, to blame an external force.
And then they look for Q to come and save them. They
Yeah.
look for the Lone Ranger or Superman. So they take responsibility away from themselves.
Yeah.
Like I said at the start, you're born, you're this infant, you're this beautiful, shiny baby. And then they program you. From the moment you're born, they program you. You get put in front of a television and that programs you. The program, and then you get out, you get spat out, 16, 17, 18, into the world, you go work, you meet your mates, and then you run all these programs that you think is real. And then you get yourself in all sorts of trouble. And then when you're in your 40s, you go, whoa, hang on. I better start sitting down and thinking. And that's what I did. This ain't adding up. I ain't going down the road I've been leading. I don't want to be that fella that stands in the bookies when he's 70 years old and he's only got £2 in his book. I've seen him. I'm looking at myself and is that going to be me? Or am I going to be the bloke with the broken nose and the war stories at the back end of the bar? That's not what I'm here for. I've built up all these layers of ego. I was this big, rough, tough guy that people were wary of because it protected me. It got me through moving to Birmingham 20 years ago and everything I needed to protect me. But now I don't need to be that guy. I don't need to be big and rough and tough. I want to be kind and caring and considerate. That's hard for people to admit because nobody wants to show the true self. They cover themselves. So for me, I am responsible. So like I said, I did a lot of hallucinogenics, acids, mushrooms, DMT, Changa, right? And what I saw is there was only the one consciousness expressing itself billions of ways. Okay, so when you look into a glittering mirror ball like in a disco, and if you went up to it and you looked and you see your face, if I look in it, I'll see my face. We're the same thing. Okay, you're just having your unique experience. But the reason why I think there's things like child killers and stuff like that is because imagine if you truly grasp that there is only you in this whole existence, everybody you'd ever met is just you expressed in a child format or in a wife so that you can play out these domestic dramas, or in a mother or a father, right? Everything is just your one dream. You are the dream in having this one dream. Okay, it's a very, very sober and scary thought. None of this is real, and it's just me having a dream. Well, then people say, what's the point? Because the point is, when you go back to the one, and you're floating there in this infinite thing, nobody wants to be on their own. We do everything to distract ourselves from being on our own, and that's the same with the one consciousness. So we've done this billions of lives, right? So that we never remember what we truly are. And the whole idea of the life is to remember what you truly are, which is the one consciousness. So if I look at you and go, brother, I've got 2 sandwiches, have one. Everything gets healed in this world. There's no greed, there's no hunger, there's no anything, because everybody is you. So you go on to look out for everybody. So everything about this, the controllers have distracted you from that. They don't want you to have that life, right? Because greed's good. You know all the taglines, greed's good. Look after number one. Communities you can have, but it takes everybody to start thinking like this, because we're creating our own reality. Okay, so when 10,000 people or 1 million people in London yesterday, when they have a collective dream, when they all truly start to envisage a world where these jokers fall, there's multiple timelines running. So that means we can choose the timeline we want. If we put enough of our energy, manifestation, whatever we call it, we step onto that timeline. the future's ours. Nothing's set. That's why when people start, a lot of my friends, they post stuff about what will happen when the vaccine and this is going to happen. But there's another timeline where Boris is gone in 2 weeks with no confidence because, this whole shit show has fallen apart. In my reality, COVID doesn't exist. I hear people and they say, no, but it's this and that. Okay, cool. What happened to flu? When, all that stuff. It doesn't exist in my reality. I don't die. I'm the star of my show. I'm not going to die early doors. I'm there to the end of it because it's my movie, right? I step into my power as the star of the show. I used to give my power away, give it to my ex-wife, give it away to all sorts of people in all sorts of situations. And we've given it away to our government. We've given it away to the police. We give it away to when we go into the shop and somebody says, "Put a mask on." You give your power away instead of going, "No, I know what I know, and I'm going to do what I'm an infinite being."
But do you think though that when I know you said that you didn't want to talk about COVID, but just to use it as an example,
yeah.
When they talk about these COVID passports and stuff like this, we're giving our energy to it then, and what I've noticed is before anything even happens, the media start to throw stuff out there just to gain a reaction, and we know this is what they do. Once they get the reaction, then they know which way to take it. But if we give it enough energy and enough focus, it's almost as if we're manifesting it ourselves. And the people that know,
it's not as if we are doing it.
Yeah. So
that's why they do it. That's why the media manipulates us to create this, so that all we do is think about it. Right? People, oh shit! If I've got to have a vaccine passport if I want to go on holiday, it becomes in their psyche, they set it, and it becomes a reality.
The reality,
it's fluid reality. We are creating this. That's why I say, for me, I don't talk about it. It can, next door, the whole lot could be dying. There could be 15 people in that house all dying of COVID. Enjoy it. I am the observer, and I'm not observing that because I know I will interact with it. You see, with quantum physics, if we agree we're energy, and the observer and the observed become entangled, it's not for me. That's their timeline. That's why I don't.
But how do you deal? And this is a question really because for me really as well. But if you say COVID doesn't exist in your reality, that's fine, and it's although it's difficult to block it out, I can see your mindset. But so let's say in my reality, I choose to follow that. I choose to say, right, COVID no longer exists in my reality. But in my reality, I want to go down the pub now, and I want to sit inside the pub in my reality, but I can't because of COVID. So although it's not in your reality, it is still infiltrating. So you've almost had to alter your reality because that would mean I'd have to change my reality to not want to go and sit inside the pub. Right. I've got to change my way of thinking.
I went away camping. I've been camping pretty much every couple of weeks, all the way through the lockdown, all through the winter. We went away this weekend and we went to the pub. We sat in a beer garden. It was beautiful. No track and trace, nothing to. Now, the old style pubs where we used to go for a couple of pints, would I want to sit around with anybody that walks in with a mask on? Them people are not my people anymore, right? The reality switched. Their reality is their reality. They are fully bought into this. Tourists wouldn't lie. Government look after you. Everything's great. They are a total opposite reflection of us. So we question everything, and they question nothing. Again, we're like, some people are like, how are they not saying this? For God's sake, what the, right? Because in their reality, their timeline, everything is fine. Okay, they don't need to question everything because the BBC explained it all perfectly, and then Lorraine explains it every morning for them. The GMTV will reinforce it, and then every hour on the hour on the radio at work, they will hear the same thing: stay safe, stand 2 meters, do this like a good citizen, and that's all they need to hear in their timeline. But they are so far removed from their own spirituality. I'm not saying they don't exist. It doesn't exist, but it's going to take a lot for them because they bought into everything. They did well at school. They popped out as a model student, perfect for the workforce, right? So when the workforce is a square box that you have to step into, I wasn't even a triangle. I was like some 16-sided, I don't know, offcut. I can only work for myself, mate. I don't fit in any box, right? I am the box. You see that I'm creating this. So because I didn't understand it when I was a kid, I just thought it was F the system. Right? You're born in the system. Whatever this thing is, you ain't breaking it. But if it's a fast-flowing river, what you can do, you can circumnavigate it. You can choose not to be in it. So I can still drink. I still got all my mates. So what am I missing? There's enough groups now, like on Facebook. There's that Awake and Travel, where you can go on holiday around, but you don't have to wear masks. You can go into their pubs. You don't have to go into. Ian Brown said you'll never do a gig where anybody has to get tested. So the festivals, we will have our own festivals. Their society, I don't want to be part of that society. I'm in the free love society, right? Where if I've got 10 sandwiches, I'm going to give 8 of them away. And I expect the same back. And that's why we'll have an abundant life. And that is it. When you live like this, it is that simple. You resonate because we're energy vibrating on a frequency. We know that. I don't come down to their level. So I can't even be in that space with them half the time. You know, you go there, you had your vaccine. No. Why not? How old are you? 50. Well, you should have had it. No, I've got an immune system. But you have to have it. Well, you've had a vaccine and you can still catch it and you can still pass it. So what's the point? Well, you have to, don't you? No, I don't think. I don't trust my immune system.
No, I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. I've just, as an interviewer, I have to ask questions. There's a question here. So, shout out to a few people. So, hi, David. Hi, Eddie. Martin says it's like cosmic ordering. It is indeed. Are they on Just Eat, though, Martin? I'll have to try and find them. See if I can do some cosmic ordering on Just Eat. Nick Treadwell says, does Bernie think that there are other intelligent beings in this reality that are here to guide us, either here in Earth or anywhere else in the universe? Now, I without answering for you, I would say that there is no Earth and universe. It is all just all just one. But I think it's there. Nick's asking, do you think that there are these intelligent beings? And I assume it's these beings that you've seen when you've taken the Changa and stuff like that.
I think the place is full. It's absolutely packed. Like I say, we're frequency. So we talked about this last year. Right? We vibrate. The 3D frequency can fit the most beautiful, kind, caring person in the world and the dregs of society. Right, so that shows how wide the broadband is with on this 3D reality. Okay, for me, I'm partially in the 4D. I think the 4D is the duality, and then I only see the good now, and I think that is me transcending. I have changed physically. I'm changing mentally. It's freed up my life. And more and people. Instead of having to shout to be heard, no, I talk to people. Listen. Because I've got nothing bad to say. You know, if somebody goes away and goes, nah, absolute crackpot. Okay, cool. Then enjoy your life. All I'm saying is, I went from the guy that, if I saw myself 6-7 years ago and I was talking to him, I wouldn't recognise him, right? I think I'm moving forward. A lot of, I've got a really, really, really good set of friends. Right? No nonsense, no idiots, because I can't tolerate them. I don't care what Emmerdale's saying or Coronation Street, all that stuff. It doesn't matter to me. I'm more bothered about how people are. Can I help somebody? Or just showing up, shining a light. I have a lot of I've learned a lot of skills now for counselling and through dealing with my own stuff. And when we go camping, we always sit around the fire. But like Nick says, I'm calling in whether I've got spirit guides, whether I've got masters behind me. Like I say, I think there's a lot of people invested in this reality of your life. I'm not just the me. I'm not the me. When my consciousness stepped in, it's a shared consciousness with lots of other people. You know, I think there could be multiple timelines running right now. Okay, we went camping the other day, and me and Donna drove down to Avebury. On the way, we stopped off at the petrol station, and she said that she went into pay. She went, right, put 20 quid in, so I'm pumping up the 20 quid, and she comes out the petrol station and walks over to the van and to her car, and looks like she's climbed in the driver's seat. Right, I'm on the opposite side, the passenger side. So I thought, all right, she must have paid already, so I'll make sure it gets to 20. Get to 20, and then open the door to go on. Did he get his other sandwich? And she wasn't there, right? So I went into the thing, and I went into the station, couldn't see her, so I went to the toilet, and I come back out, and I said, where were you? She said, what do you mean? I'm just here. I said, did you come over earlier? She said, no. But I watched her walk out the station, the petrol station, walk over to the car, the other opposite side of me, and then just disappear. And my intuition told me there's many timelines running. Maybe we're having this conversation 10 times, 1,000 times, with little variations on this. You get up, the baby cries, or this happens, or the electric goes up. But there's all, and maybe that's the deja vu thing where you come in and you go, I remember this bit.
I think that explains spirits. Yeah. I think, when you're seeing spirits and you see someone from a Victorian timeline or whatever, a theory I'm thinking of at the minute is that you're not actually seeing a dead person. You're almost like a time slip, and you're seeing them living their reality.
Concurrent.
Yeah, at the time.
There's only now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There is only now, so that means if anybody ever tells you, oh, karmic debt, I go, how? If there's only time is a human construct, right? Then everything is happening right now. So Hitler's a baby, Hitler's gassing the Jews right now. Every single, just as you are, every part of you, right? Being born till the day you die is happening right now. So how you can affect the multidimensional, every life that you live in, because you are you, and it's all happening instantaneously. You are the now.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So I think that's what it is. So like you said, you see the Victorian or the army guy or the Battle of Bosworth Hill, whatever, it's happening right now. And because it's frequency, you see it. Your spirit guides are all overlaid. I think a lot of it happens for me when I'm asleep, and I'll wake up and I'll sense something in a room, and I'll see people walking around, or there'll be a light floating around, or whatever. And it doesn't even faze me because I've seen that many weird things. Like literally, like opening a portal in my house and then having aliens walk through the wall and standing in my front room. I'm like, well, how does this work? Because I'm wide awake. And then I realised, because when you tilt it slightly, it's a hologram, and I'm projecting a hologram. That's why I know for certain that this thing is a holographic reality. And it's not about anybody else. It's about you. This is your show. I am projecting this whole reality.
I agree with this kind of stuff. I think we've got about 5 minutes or so left. You touched on about how your past, how you were quite a violent person, prone to angry outbursts. You've taught yourself to be more on a path of love and light, and I think that's really good. But the world doesn't want that, as you've said. The system doesn't want that. But what I find is how we're often attacked for thinking like that. And you see these other marches, these other protests, so the Black Lives Matter protests, and the whatever that Greta Thunberg is, what's it called? But the climate change stuff. That always ends with shops being looted, windows being smashed. Those horrible videos of black people forcing white people onto their knees, all that kind of shit. But although there are little pockets of kind of angry outbursts, as we saw at the end of Saturday, it's never violent, really. It's always just people hugging each other, and that's frowned upon. And what we've seen now is these people that look at you without the mask, you're a nutter, you're a madman, you're going to kill us all. Whereas you just want to hug people, you just want to love people, you want to give people your 8 sandwiches. These people wouldn't give you a sandwich because they're going to get a virus. These people put masks on so they can't communicate with other people. These people stand 2 meters away from other people so they can't kind of interact with other people. They are the complete opposite to, in my opinion, what we're all about, which is human interaction, love and light, and sharing of knowledge and stuff. But the way the system has you is that you're the bad person, and they're the good person.
Because
and I just think that's so backwards.
Because this world is a helter-skelter world. Everything is upside down and back to front.
Yeah.
Right? Celebrity, these vacuous, I don't know, kids with big tits and I don't know, and a hairdo, and they become multi-millionaires. And I don't know, influencers, an influencer, what? Do something, And then there's like, I don't know, Olympians or people that have really put some graft in, and they're scratching a living. This reality is, like I say, they've hijacked the religious thing, right? It's a demonic. It's some spellcraft.
It's inversed. It's inversed because the doctors no longer really treat us how from a health perspective. They just serve the pharmaceutical business. Lawyers no longer serve us from a perspective of looking after the little man. They only look after corporations. Government no longer look after the people, which is who they should stand for, but they look after themselves. So the whole world is inversed and backwards. And people that share those kind of, I guess, personalities and that kind of attribute, they're the ones that get on in life. As you say, influencers. What are they doing? They're showing that they're showing people that they're ugly, or they're telling people that they're fat and
an idol. They're idolizing the label money. I said the same thing to my son earlier. I said, stop. You're praying to money. You're praying to these false labels, Nike or whatever it is. Gucci. When I get this, I'll be a real guy. I'll be this. I'll be. I'm going to say get a pair of sandals. It doesn't matter, man. If you've got £80 jeans or 80 pence jeans, right? It's who's inside them. But like we said, this reality does not praise these people. We took the mick out of them. The kids are bloody hippie. That's what we do because it's programming. But then everybody that I like is a hippie or is a free thinker. The freaks, the geeks that we would look at when we were kids, are now the most interesting people going.
None
of us truly fit in. We're not meant to fit in. That's why we are the people now that are showing everybody else how to do this. And that's it.
You're right, because the people I was at school with, who I would have called at the time, intelligent people, clever, good at sports or whatever, clever people, popular, are the people that are following the narrative now, and not just this narrative, but in general, and yet the people who were kind of outcasts, weren't really good at sport, you wouldn't have said really were clever in terms of the system's way of telling if you're clever or not, are the people now who are beginning to see the world for how it is. And
we've done the training, man. We've done the training. We've put a hard shell around us, and that's why we don't care. We don't mind walking into supermarkets and everybody looking at us, because we know we're the only one that's right, because we stand in our power. That nobody even wants to, because they don't want to think for themselves. We think for themselves. We've always thought for ourselves because we're different. Right? That's it.
I think my closing comment on it would be, when you see these, I've said it before, but when you see these mask wearers and they, firstly, where were the mask wearers the day before they were mandated in shops? They were nowhere to be seen. So 95% of the people that wear masks are doing it simply to comply, simply for a quiet life. If they were genuinely scared and they genuinely thought it made a difference, they would have been wearing it before because they were widely available. So they're lying to themselves. The other reason is when they get angry with you, it's because you're magnifying their cowardice. You know, they look at you and they see who they want to be, but who they don't have the balls to be, essentially. And they don't like that. They don't like that reflection.
But that's the same in any. If I say something that winds you up, triggers you, that is triggering something within you that you know is true. Okay, so instead of going, you shouldn't be saying that because I'm talking the truth. Well,
it's I shouldn't be reacting. I shouldn't be reacting like that.
If they get angry because of me, that's their issue. It's not your issue. That's it, man.
Yeah. It's right. We're slightly over, but a minute or so left. Any kind of closing remarks? Last words over to you.
Like I say, what I would say to anybody is just try it for 48 hours, right? My way. It ain't going to cost you anything. All it's going to do is your life will just open up, right? Don't get wound up today, tomorrow, or the next day about anything. When it presents itself, you can choose whether you react to it. So what you do is you observe everything. If the wife's going on again, observe it. What is it? Is she drawing me into a drama? So acknowledge it for what it is. Imagine you're sat up on the ceiling looking at you two playing out this drama. Do I need to do it? And do that in everyday life. And then you choose whether to react or to just go, you know what, love, come here. Here's a cup of tea. I love you. It's that easy to, and when you're kind, everybody comes up to your level. Because if you're saying to everybody, I love you, and they're getting wound up, that's their issue. Imagine if everybody just walked around going, hey, brother, I love you, man. You good? You need anything? The whole world just fits. And your life just becomes simple. So that's what I'd say. Give it a go. 48 hours. If it doesn't work out for you, then maybe you're not real.
they're the non-player, the non-players that you spoke of. Well, thanks for coming on. I mean, this could have been a 2, 3, 4 hour show, so we'll get you back on again in the near future, and we'll have a part 2. So many different things I wanted to talk about that we just don't have time. But yeah, thank you very much for coming on. Yeah. And thank you to everybody for watching. Please share this around. Bernie's views are, if you don't agree with them, it's just a damn nice way of living your life, isn't it? You know, it's even if it's all bollocks, it's just a nice way to live your life. But yeah, thanks, mate. Thank you for coming on. Stick around. We'll have a chat. And thank you everybody for watching. And until next time, take care.